Hi everybody, Kyle Austin, Matt Wenzel here at Michigan State's Media Day, where we actually got some news, which is kind of rare for Media Day, and it was bad news for Michigan State. Sophomore quarterback Josiah Scott out for 2 months with an undisclosed injury, and Matt, as far as injuries go, that's a pretty key one.
Yeah, I mean, Josiah, you know, he was an early enrollee last year. He was a day one starter. I mean, he had a really good season, especially for a true freshman. Started all 12 games he was in, which is the most ever for a true freshman position player in Mark D'Antonio's tenure. You know, he was a guy that, you know, has the makings, still does, being a 4-year starter. And, you know, you lose him for 2 months, that's obviously a problem. Injuries, the health was obviously much better for Michigan State last year. That's, you know, now they got to hit in early August, but you know, they do have depth in the secondary. They lost Tyson Smith last week. The news came out that he won't play this year. His career may be over. So that's 2 guys in your 2 deep in less than a week that you've lost. So that's significant. But you know, you have experience. Mark mentioned Josh Butler. He's redshirt junior. He's got starting experience. You got, you know, a true freshman like Kalen Gerving. You know, you've got other guys there you can throw in the mix. So there is depth, and they do have time to figure it out. This isn't something that happened, you know, 2 days before Utah State.
Yeah, if I'm looking at silver linings, to me it's 1, depth, and 2 months. You know, you look at the schedule this year. There's no Oregon the second game. There's no Notre Dame the second game. I mean, I'm not Arizona State. I don't think it's going to be a rollover, but it's not as difficult as some of those early games have been. So it seems like something they'll be able to withstand. Maybe go to more depth, and if he can come back. But certainly, I mean, not good news for a team that's bringing a lot back. You know, second takeaway, we just got done talking to a lot of the offensive players, offensive coaches, and a lot of them kind of keyed in on that 24.5 points per game. It's really being a number that I think bothered them a lot this offseason. Obviously, Michigan State won 10 games, but I think the defense did a lot of the heavy lifting there, and the offense kind of feels that onus to do more, basically, to put it simply, to put more points on the board and be more part of it. What's kind of your opinion since then?
Yeah, that was, you know, I think I saw that stat in middle of the winter. It's just going through, I think it was only 4 teams in the country averaged Michigan State's number or fewer and finished with a record above 500, and I think they were the only team in the nation that averaged fewer than 27 points that won 10 games. So, I mean, when you add that up, that means your defense is doing, you're winning close games and your defense is doing a lot of heavy lifting for you. So yeah, I mean, they've talked about this since the winter. I mean, they need to score more points. 24.5 is not good enough. You go back to the 2014 team, and they were putting up, what, 40 or whatever. You know, I mean, that's a huge difference there. And they have the capability to do it. You bring back 10 starters. Ryan Lewerke is obviously a very capable quarterback. You got perhaps one of, if not the best, wide receiving group in the Big Ten. You got a proven running back in LJ Scott. I think you add that up, you get some growth out of the offensive line, and it's hard to imagine that number won't go up.
I think the offensive line growth, it's not a sexy thing to talk about, but I think it's the key because they've got a lot of talent at skill positions, but if Ryan Lewerke going to have time to do it, is he going to be out there rolling the stage? LJ Scott's got a ton of ability, but is he going to have holes? Yep. They bring a lot of guys back, and if those guys make that growth, I think that's something we talk about. But to me, that's the biggest if in that whole group. And then, looking at the 3 things we're talking about, talking kind of big picture, I mean, last year, it felt like the world was falling on this program. I mean, I can't remember a more night and day difference as far as tone for Media Day coming from last year to this year. And it goes from, you know, can you rebound to can you sustain, which I think that's an equally important question when you think about the big picture. You know, can you stay at this level and can you maybe take that next level, next step, which is a very difficult step too, to kind of get to that elite level.
Yeah, I think part of it, you know, you go back to that 2016 year, and you had some guys that come in, what's the expression, guys that are born on, born on third base or whatever. You have guys that had never experienced, this is Michigan State. It was, coming off a 36-5 run, 2 bowl wins, and if you get that dose of humility, you have guys that experience failure, guys that expected success. I think that obviously breeds into the program. We have guys that, we've got a guy that's a senior this year. They were on a college football playoff team, a 3-9 team, and now a 10-win team. I mean, with those highs and lows, I think that will tend to, you get guys that will, they don't want to experience that again, and they know it's capable of happening because it was just 2 years ago. It wasn't that long.
Well, that'll do it here. I'll have plenty of coverage at mlive.com/sports for everything Michigan State Media Day. For Matt Wenzel, I'm Kyle Austin. Thanks for watching.